Walmart really hiding? So in 2015, Walmart abruptly closed in various locations, mainly in Ohio, all citing plumbing problems. Initially, no one thought anything of it, but things started getting stranger by the day. Well, you see, people found it weird that the plumbing problems were so severe that it required 6 months to fix. Soon after, military personnel were seen moving in and out of the closed locations, building what seemed like defenses around the empty shopping mall, and it seemed very apparent that something was going on under the stores. This is where it's getting crazy. In one instance, a lady, I don't remember her name, but whatever, who managed to break past the barrier, recounted that upon entering the closed supermarket, she was shocked to find a giant hole dug up in the center of the store. She also stated that there were black tentacles coming out of the hole, and inside the hole itself, there was a red, slimy substance. Even though you can watch the video she recorded by clicking on this icon on More and finally on YouTube, everyone is still wondering.
The granite in the Great Pyramid comes from more than 500 miles to the south. If you look at the famous King's Chamber, the ceiling of the King's Chamber are all made with gigantic granite blocks.
Stunning detail.
Stunning detail. Those blocks on the roof of the King's Chamber weigh 70 tons each. Now, Egyptologists will tell you that, they could move heavy blocks because they put them on wet sand and they push them along on wet sand. Well, maybe if you're just at ground level, that will do. But when you're 350 feet above the ground, as you are in the King's Chamber, that won't do at all. I don't know how they did it. All I know is they did it. I don't think anybody knows how they did it, how they lifted those stones, how they brought them up to that level. I think we're looking, again, at a lost technology. And it was this ancient apocalypse, 12,800 years ago, that wiped that from the human memory banks.
Santa Claus could literally be symbolism for Satan, like Satan in disguise. This is just a theory, but listen, and you'll understand how this all makes sense. So, if you rearrange the letters in Santa, you can spell Satan, but everyone knows that. The theory goes on to say that Santa and Satan share the same colors. They both use red when being represented. Also, we know that the devil is attached to greed. Well, what is Christmas attached to? Greed. It's all about having lots of things, like loads of gifts and toys. You want to have a lot of something, right? If you do the math, over the last 23 years, this is using the calendar theory, by the way. With 13 28-day months, Jesus' birthday would be the first day of spring, when everything comes to life. People also say that there's a theory for the trees. Pagans allegedly used to take plants and trees in their homes on the 25th December to honor and celebrate a pagan god's birthday. The theory goes on to say that the whole revamp of Christmas was to detach Christ from Christmas and make it this into a thing that just makes everyone want to buy stuff. What do you think about that?
Let's talk about how the Soviet Union has 69 years of classified events that we'll never know of. For real, that's actually how long they lasted for. But the discovery of the Tsul princess is one of the few deep dark secrets that managed to see the light of day. Back in 1969, near the village of Tsulsky in the Russian tundra of Siberia, a team of coal miners were busy digging deep into the ground. They were about 70 meters, which is 21 stories straight down, when the miners hit a wall that felt looser than the rest, like it was hollow on the inside. They struck it real hard and the rubble came crumbling down, uncovering a hidden tunnel that they definitely did not dig themselves. A few of them go inside this tunnel to see what's in there, and before long they come across something that none of them expected to find. A closed coffin, like 70 meters deep underground in a coal mine hidden inside a previously unknown tunnel system. This was something big. They dust it off and realize this ain't no regular coffin, but an ornately decorated white marble sarcophagus about 8 feet in length. Whatever this was, it was special, and the higher-ups would be paying big bucks for it. The miners tell their plant managers, who take a look and instantly call in the military for full extraction. But they all realized once the Soviet army comes in, they're probably never gonna see this coffin ever again. Hoping to get something out of this monumental discovery, they managed to pry open the lid to find the body of a perfectly preserved woman inside, wearing a slightly see-through dress. She appeared to be about 30 years old, but the most interesting thing about her was that she was fully submerged in a pink liquid that filled the entire coffin. Her eyes were also wide open and was so well preserved that she almost looked like she was still alive. The army gets there and they try to lift the sarcophagus out of the mine shaft, but it's way too heavy to move. So, thinking nothing of it, they drained the liquid from the coffin to lighten the load, too quickly to realize just how grave this mistake was. As soon as the pink liquid emptied from around the woman, she instantly started to decay and turn black. Turns out, whatever this liquid was, it seemed to be preserving her to near perfection. They airlift it out of there and bring the coffin to a research lab where the scientists could not for the life of them identify what the pink liquid could have been. And when they dated the corpse to see how old the woman was, no one could believe what age they got. Immediately after this, the mine was shut down. The miners all let go, letting the military take over the facility in the 70s. The village of Tusulski nearby all hear about this find and the army takeover, and everyone's talking about it. With many residents from the town very clearly recall hearing about it at school and all over the news at the time. For all they knew, this wasn't a myth. It actually happened. When the KGB starts investigating the matter, all of a sudden the news stations stop talking about it, and follow-up reports come out saying that it was all false information. And just like that, the entire discovery is painted as a hoax. Until decades later, when the Soviet Union fell, military operations like these got declassified, and articles reporting on it brought it back to the public eye. But the real craziest, most unbelievable part of it all, this coffin is allegedly said to have been over 800 million years old.
Did you know the ancient Maya civilization had one of the most advanced calendars on the planet? Imagine a civilization that could predict the stars and guide their lives by the calendar. Welcome to the world of the Maya. The Maya didn't just keep time, they mastered it with complex calendars. Meet the Tzolk'in, a 260-day sacred calendar. Each day has a unique name and number, guiding everything from rituals to daily life. Priests, known as day keepers, use the Tzolk'in to choose the best days for planting, rituals, and decisions. Next, the Hab, a 365-day solar calendar, perfect for tracking the seasons. The Hab ensured the Maya planted and harvested their crops in harmony with nature. But the real star? The long count calendar, tracking time over thousands of years. The long count recorded history and predicted cosmic events. Remember December 21st, 2012? Their secret? Observing the heavens. Maya astronomers tracked the sun, moon, and planets with stunning precision. They blended science and spirituality, predicting eclipses and celestial cycles like prose. Maya calendars were more than timekeepers. They were cosmic guides. Follow us for more historical wonders. Hit follow for more dives into the wonders of history. Keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the past. Join us next time on History Awaken as we continue to uncover the wonders of the ancient world.
The Earth might be bigger than we thought. For years, people have debated over the shape of the Earth, if it is round or flat. Now, this might just all be a conspiracy, but what if the Earth had more than just 7 continents? And Antarctica was just a giant ice wall that kept us from seeing the rest of the continents? What if once you made it past the ice wall, you'll find the 20 continents that are really being hidden from us? And what if there was a map that showed this? There are theories that these continents contain prehistoric animals, aliens, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents that we are living in is actually a giant farm or business owned by a small handful of families that make up the filthy rich in the real world, or in the other continents that we don't know about. That is why
the moon is about to disappear. Well, you see, David Copperfield, the famed magician, has claimed that come February of 2024, he will accomplish a lifelong mission to make the moon disappear. That took him just over 30 years to figure out. Now, it all might seem like this is going to be another grand illusion. However, recently, countless people have been posting videos of the moon, seeming to vanish into thin air, with Copperfield releasing a statement urging the public to report any strange moon events to a tip line, so as to know if his testing is going according to plan. It makes one wonder if this is not just another illusion, but part of a greater ploy at play. Perhaps one that can deceive the public into thinking an invasion is coming. Well, either way, everyone is wondering how.
Did you know? In the heart of the Belizean jungle lies Lubantun, an ancient Maya city shrouded in mystery. Here, in 1924, a discovery was made that would ignite the imaginations of many and spark countless theories, some reaching beyond our world. They say Anna Mitchell Hedges found a crystal skull beneath a collapsed altar during an expedition led by her father, the adventurer F.A. Mitchell Hedges. But was this extraordinary artifact truly discovered here? Or does it have a far more cosmic origin? The crystal skull. Its origins are far too complex to be a mere archaeological find. There are whispers of ancient technology, lost civilizations, and even extraterrestrial connections. The skull, made from a single piece of clear quartz, defies explanation. Modern scientific analysis reveals tool marks inconsistent with ancient Maya technology, suggesting it might be far more recent, or perhaps far older, than initially believed. Lubantan itself is a site of many enigmas. Built with dry stone masonry, it stands apart from other Maya cities. But the discovery of the crystal skull here adds layers of intrigue. There are legends of the Atlanteans, a lost civilization with unparalleled technological prowess. Some believe the crystal skull is an artifact from Atlantis, brought to the New World by survivors of the cataclysm that sank their homeland. Could the crystal skull be a relic from Atlantis, carried across oceans by survivors who integrated with the Maya? Or is it even more otherworldly? Another theory posits that the skull is of extraterrestrial origin. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that beings from other worlds visited the Maya, sharing their knowledge and leaving behind artifacts like the crystal skull. What if the crystal skull is a gift from the stars, an artifact left to guide us, to unlock secrets of the cosmos? The precision and craftsmanship are beyond what we understand, even today. Rumors persist that governments and secret organizations are studying the skull, seeking to harness its unknown powers. What secrets does it hold? What knowledge could it unlock? The true origins of the crystal skull remain a mystery. It could rewrite history as we know it, or reveal a history we've long forgotten. The crystal skull of Lubantun continues to fascinate and confound. Whether an artifact of an ancient civilization, a gift from the stars, or a relic of a lost world, it remains a symbol of the unknown, an enigma waiting to be solved. Join us next time on History Awaken, as we continue to uncover the wonders of the ancient world.
You know what's so weird about Antarctica? It is empty, like there's nothing there. So if you wake up and decide that you want to go see some emperor penguins or any wildlife there, you can't physically visit the interior of Antarctica, which somehow this guy actually went to. I think his name is Remy Warren. So it's like a full-blown camp, as in it's got library, indoor area for you to do activities, with bathrooms, showers, and everything. It's got nice tents, and it's just like fully established. So when landing there, there's a blue ice runway, which is just a runway constructed in Arctic areas with no net annual snow accumulation. So you're just landing on straight ice. It's crazy. Then they have these tents, like special tents that they stay in. And apparently, the sun is so strong down there that people actually cover up to stay protected from it. Like the guy was wearing long sleeves, a jacket, and had a fully wrapped face. You might say, oh, that's required for Antarctica, but for the sun, that's just crazy. The sun just never goes down. And then finally, they have so much food. Like, they had a full dining facility, but they never have any wildlife up there, like ever. There's millions upon millions of penguins, but there's no food source in the interior.
Did you know the ancient Maya invented their own cement? Let's dive into this ancient secret. They started with limestone, found everywhere in their region. By heating the limestone, they created quicklime, a highly reactive substance that forms the basis of their cement. Then, they mixed it with water to form slaked lime. This mixture, known as lime plaster, was their magic ingredient. The slaked lime was then carefully applied to stone blocks to bind them together. They used it to bind stones and build massive temples and pyramids. Over time, the plaster absorbed CO2 from the air, turning back into limestone. This made it super hard and durable, and that's how they built their incredible infrastructure, including temples, pyramids, plazas, roads, and even reservoirs. This ancient technique was so advanced that many of their buildings still stand today, showcasing their engineering prowess. Did you know about Mayan cement? Comment yes if you did, or wow if you learned something new. Follow for more amazing history facts.
MK Ultra and the role that these guys that were running that program, that they interacted with Manson. They interacted with him in prison, and they think that they might have been the people that were supplying him with the acid, or he was using it to manipulate those kids. And the whole thing was to discredit the anti-war movement. They were trying to develop this attitude in America that hippies are dangerous and murderous. And, you know, these people that are like, stop the war, these people they're a threat.
Sure.
And so one of the ways they did it was this high-profile guy, Charles Manson. And they take this guy and they taught him how to run a fucking cult when he was in prison, most likely.
What you do see at Göbekli Tepe is pillars with carvings in relief on them.
Three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional carvings which stand out. That means that all of the stone around the carving had to be cut away. It wasn't a matter of incising the carving into the stone. You had to remove the stone around it to leave it standing proud.
Much more sophisticated. And that one's amazing.
It's amazing. They cut away the whole pillar to leave that creature there. And it's on the oldest pillar in Göbekli Tepe, which maybe Jamie can call up. It's pillar 43. This vulture is in exactly the position of the constellation of Sagittarius. And the disk over its wing suggests the sun against the background of the constellation. Below it, we have a scorpion, so like the constellation of Scorpio, and roughly in the right place. It seems to speak to a knowledge of astronomy at an ancient time. Again, it's controversial, but a lot of work has been done on this. But the point is, the carving of that is highly sophisticated at 11,600 years old.
We might have found it. I've been wanting to do this one for so long, and we're finally doing it. The lost city of Atlantis. Maybe it's not just a myth, it's time. Everyone knows the story. Advanced civilization existed long ago that got lost under the sea. And there is a location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania known as the Eye of the Sahara, or the Richat structure. Yeah, this one's been beaten to death by all the Atlantis hunters, but it does have striking similarities to Plato's definition of the lost city over 2,000 years ago. Concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, opening to the sea in the south and mountains to the north. White, black, and red stones and an abundance of gold, all of which are prominent features of the Mauritania region. Not to mention, it was even recorded on this ancient map by Roman geographer Pomponius Mela around 43 AD as Atlante, in the same geographical region as the Richat structure. You ever get tired of me saying it must be a coincidence? And the debunkers are likely cringing right now, which is sort of my specialty, as the Richat structure is one of their favorite sites to shit on, even though it is one of the least studied places on Earth, as it is in a very remote area. You know, red zone, super dangerous, overrun by rogue military forces type shit. But follow-up LiDAR scans of the area did have some interesting finds. Thousands of what appear to be ancient man-made structures found beneath the sands of the Eye of the Sahara. Definitely not something we could call natural. Not necessarily proving Atlantis, but showing that an unrecorded civilization existed in this extremely remote desert sometime in the past. But further in-depth excavation of the region is conveniently too risky to pursue, and any career archaeologists found supporting Atlantis will get mocked and discredited in their communities, so they just try to avoid it. But where did this idea of a lost advanced civilization that sank beneath the ocean even come from? The earliest formal account is by famed Greek philosopher Plato around 360 BC in one of his many dialogues about a perfect utopian society called Atlantis, which was governed by Atlas. You know, that guy who holds the world on his shoulders. Atlantis roughly translates to Island of Atlas. In Plato's writing Critias, an ancestor of his named Solon visited Egypt way back in 600 BC, where he's told by Egyptian priests of this great advanced civilization that was destroyed by a flood 9,000 years ago, whose story has been passed down for generations and is recorded all over the temples in Egypt. Now, 9,000 years ago from that time would be around 9600 BC, conveniently aligned with the Younger Dryas impact, a hypothesized event that resulted in global cataclysms that flooded the world that is scientifically backed by geological core samples. And Atlantis was around for much longer than that. 9600 BC is just when it got wiped out. It's here where Plato described how it looked with great detail, which many claim is just a myth, a work of fiction that he wrote. And Plato did write many dialogues of presumably fictitious events, such as the allegory of the caves or conversations among friends in the Republic. But he would make it quite obvious in his texts when these fictitious dialogues were just stories that discussed hypothetical, philosophical, or moralistic ideas. In his dialogue Critias, he describes Atlantis in great length, providing super accurate details and dates that had little connection to his overall message of the story. And the strangest part of Critias is that it just ends in the middle of a sentence. Yeah, he didn't even finish this story, as it just comes to an abrupt end as soon as Zeus is about to give an epic speech. Was there someone who told him to stop writing? Did he actually finish it and it was later later erased from history? Or was it just fiction that he got bored of and he moved on to other writings? We can honestly never know for sure, but this isn't the last time Atlantis is mentioned in history. But these stories, right? They're just made up myths. Where is the evidence? We'll get to that, because the Temple of Edfu in Egypt has carved into its walls a story about a lost civilization that got flooded and destroyed by a great cataclysm. Sounding like a broken record at this point. And Egypt has a recorded lineage of kings that goes back over 30,000 years, but is commonly regarded as just a myth. According to these Egyptian myths, in these earliest of times was a god named Thoth, who was born around 36,000 years ago in an idyllic civilization, where he accumulated great knowledge about the world, the universe, astronomy, writing, government, and even how to achieve immortality, and recorded them on giant slabs of green stones known as the Emerald Tablets. Everything was all fine and dandy until that pesky flood rolls along and destroys everything around 11,000 years ago, 9600 BC. Thoth survives the deluge and is instructed, among a few others, to pass the divine knowledge of the Emerald Tablets on to the next generation. One of the places he visits was a region called Kem, which we know today as Egypt, where he reintroduces civilization to a land of savages. He taught the early pre-Egyptians how to write with hieroglyphics, along with astronomy, agriculture, governing, and all the basics of civilization, and allegedly introduced them to the pyramids, which were leftover relics from Thoth's original civilization that got destroyed by the global floods. A similar version of this story is also retold in the Phaedrus, another written work by Plato. Some claim that Thoth was actually Atlantean, and that these mega structures around the world, like the pyramids, Easter Island heads, Kailash Temple, Gunung Padang, Saskatchewan, and so on, are all relics of the Atlantean Empire. Because according to this, Atlantis wasn't just a city or an island, it was a global civilization that existed over 30,000 years ago, and we might just have the evidence for it. Okay, I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to make a part 2. I hate doing this, but there was just too much to fit into one video, and I know you wouldn't have watched this if it was like 15 minutes anyway.